So I'm going to talk about ViaSat and our global cabinet communications capability, as Peter said, and we'll get to what Peter was talking about specifically. But I was invited to talk about what we're doing today and also what we're doing in the future. So today, ViaSat is the leader in large business jets, so large cabin business jets, broadband communications. And what I mean by the leader, everybody has to qualify what it means to be the leader. So for large cabin business jets that fly globally, we provide the highest speed today to those aircraft. We focus on large cabin business jets, the Challengers and Globals that you've heard about, all the Gulfstreams, G4, G450, and above all that to G650ER, all the Falcon aircraft, and a couple of Embraers, because we have a tail mount solution, and that's where we do our best work in broadband communications. Now, I'm really glad that Peter began with that survey, or really the study from Cisco, because I spent a lot of time talking about the same thing, and I don't have to do it here. I'd encourage you to go online and take a look at it. What you'll see, because you didn't show the chart, which is very interesting from our perspective up here, the chart looks like a ski slope. I mean, data mobile usage is not a linear growth, as we can all anticipate, because we all have smartphones in this room. We probably also have a tablet. We might have a Fitbit. We have all these devices that are communicating. And we know that growth of data, as we saw in the charts, both from Inmarsat's data and from the Cisco data. Who here, though, expects that ski slope is going to stop and just level off? Right? I mean, we're done, right? We have the iPhone 6. There's no more, right? We're done. No more data growth, right?
Success.
I don't see any. No hands up on that. All right. So that ski slope is not ending. And that's why, although ViaSat provides the highest speed data communications for large cabin business jets today, we can't sit on our laurels either. So what Peter was talking about earlier in terms of our disruption is back in 2008, ViaSat decided to upset the satellite industry and launch a satellite that had more communications capability, more capacity over the U.S. than all the other communication satellites combined. We got an entry into the Guinness Book of World Records. We also got Wall Street to sink our stock by about 30%, because they said, who is going to use that data? Who could design a satellite with 140 gigabits per second of capacity? And who's going to use it if you put it up there? All right, so we put up ViaSat 1 in 2011, and initially we served the home market. We offered 12 megabits per second to the home, and we realized, we have a great technology to serve the aerospace market, aviation, both on the commercial airline side and on the business jet side, to augment and eventually replace what we're doing in KU band. The KU band system, by the way, you may not know the ViaSat name, but if you know of Yonder, or if you have a Gulfstream, you know BBML. But anyway, so ViaSat 1 was launched, big success, and we are going to fill in ViaSat 1. So next year we're going to launch ViaSat 2. ViaSat 2 is going to double the capacity of ViaSat 1, and it's going to increase the coverage area by 7 times. We also designed a satellite for Europe called KA-SAT. So I'll show you the coverage area later, but that's 85% of business jet air miles today. We started, though, using ViaSat 1 and our high throughput K-band solution with the airlines. We started that almost 2 years ago, 2013, and JetBlue was our launch customer. You heard about FlyFi. So if you fly on JetBlue and you get to use their free internet, that's our service backing it up. United Airlines was next with their 737 fleet. You might have seen the news this summer. Virgin America was the most recent U.S. airline using our hybrid solution, our global KU band network, plus our high throughput K-band network. And European airline, the European fleet of LL, our 737 fleet in Europe, goes live next year. Why did they choose us? Why are we disrupting? Because we have put the capacity out that can allow this to scale. And that's critical, because unless you're the only airplane flying, and my guess is if you look at a flight-aware map and figure out you're not the only aircraft that's flying, you're going to share that airspace with hundreds and thousands of other aircraft. And what we do on our network today, if you fly on any of these commercial airlines that have our system, or if you fly in a business jet with it, you're going to get 10 to 12 megabits per second On the airlines, it's 12 megabits per second because we put a pretty large fuselage mount antenna. We do have to do bird strike for sure. On the business jet, it's in the tail mount radome, and it's 10 megabits per second. Now that's not to the aircraft, that's to each device. So if you have a tablet, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, if you have a laptop, each of your devices on board is going to get 10 megabits per second. And I say going to get, I mean getting today. So here's a screenshot from our network management system. We usually don't share this with the public because it's how we track our own system, but each of those green circles is an aircraft flying. When I took this screenshot, there were about 240 aircraft flying, and each of those has hundreds of passengers on board. Here's the list of devices being used on a number of those flights. You may know that some of these aircraft, whether A320s or 737s, have 150 passengers, but as I indicated, and you probably carry 2 or more devices on board. So it's not unusual for us to see 180, 200 devices on an airplane with 150 passengers on board. Each of those passengers has an SLA for 12 megabits per second. And we know it's not going to stay there. Going back to Cisco, it's going to improve. So just yesterday on our home network, where we used to provide 12 megabits per second, we just more than doubled that. Now our home internet subscribers get 25 megabits per second. And you can see where the path is going on business aviation as well. So what can you do with that? Well, the principal wants to have a video conference. No problem. His staff might want to stream a movie on Amazon Prime or Netflix. We're doing that every day of the week, hundreds, thousands of users every single day. We've been doing it for 2 years. We're the only ones who can stream at scale. We have no doubts about that. Our capacity hasn't stopped because that coverage today that I've shown you, just last week we announced our next constellation of satellites called ViaSat 3. ViaSat 3 satellites will be a constellation that covers the globe, and going from 140 gigabits per second in ViaSat 1 to over 300 gigabits per second in ViaSat 2. Each of the ViaSat 3 satellites will have 1,000 gigabits per second of capacity, or over a terabit per second per satellite. So before the end of the decade, welcome to the terabit world from the disruptor at ViaSat. So this is what it would look like. You see, there's our ski slope, and guess what? It matches very closely with the ski slope that you'll see in the mobile data usage charts that Cisco puts out of where it's going. We began with our high capacity domestically in the US. It's in Europe today as well. We move regional next year when we cover 7 times that region, including Central America, the Caribbean, and North Atlantic with ViaSat 2. And with the ViaSat 3 constellation, will be truly global with broadband, not for just 1 or 2 aircraft, but for thousands of aircraft and hundreds of users on each aircraft. What we do is we're a completely vertically integrated company, so not only do we design these incredible satellites and have people launch them for us, but we do the ship sets ourselves. So these are antennas on top you see for the tail mount of the business jet. Come to our booth, we have these antennas there. And we do them for transport category aircraft as well. If you're fortunate enough to own a BBJ or an ACJ, we can put a fuselage mount antenna on them as well. And you can ride around and get 12 megabits per second each device all day. So that's my presentation. I just encourage you to come down to the central hall and come to the ViaSat booth. For a couple of years now, we put our satellite antennas on the roof of the convention center. We're streaming all this in the booth, see what we've been doing for a couple of years now, and see where the future's going as well. Any questions?
So everything you mentioned was airline. How many individual, privately owned fuselage mount systems do you have in operation? And how do I get them?
All right, so the question is, I showed mostly airline. How do we deal with business jets, which is what we're here for, NBAA? Excellent question. So as I mentioned up through today, our global network is our KU-band network, and that's not going away. For those of you who have Yonder on board, concerned about that, that network is staying in place. Our K network today, come to us today and you can get an install. We just announced earlier this week our partnership with one MRO. We have others on the way. Jet Aviation is doing the dual band radome for us, doing the STCs. We're in discussions with the OEMs to be line fit with the K solution, but there's no decisions made on that, a couple of the OEMs. But we can do it today in the aftermarket for you. So if you have an aircraft and you need a K solution, it's time.